Hello friends, recently our Prime Minister has said that if he secures a third term, then he will make sure that India becomes the third largest economy in the world. So today we will analyze this. If you want to download this slide, you can find the link in the description box. If you want to listen to this video in Hindi, then also the link is available in the description box. It is available on another channel, that is prepezee. Basically, the Prime Minister, he was inaugurating the Bharat Mandapam, that is the International Exhibition cum Convention Center, which has recently been inaugurated. There he said that if I am having a third tenure in the government, I will make sure that India is counted among the top 3 economies of the world. So first of all, when we are measuring these numbers, it is measured on the basis of GDP. And what is GDP? It is the total market value of final goods and services being produced in an economy within a specific duration. For here we are taking it as an year. So now final goods and services, that means that intermediate goods, for example steel or rubber or glass, are not included. Only the final goods, for example the cars, or let's say anything else which is consumed by the consumer directly, is included in the GDP. So now these are the numbers, and this is the table which is depicting these numbers. This data is from IMF. Now you can see the first column, it is country, and then it shows what was the GDP of these countries in 2004, then in 2014, today, that is 2023, and if these economies continue to grow as they are growing now, then what will be their GDP in 2027? So this is what is the number. So you can see from here that US has been always the largest economy in the from 2004 to, in fact, in the foreseeable future, it is going to be the largest economy. That is, here you can see that it was almost 12 trillions in 2004, and it has now grown on and to till now it is almost 27 trillions, and in 2027 it will cross 30 trillions. Now major comparison between for India is from China. So here you can see that in 2004 China was almost 3 times, that is 3x of India. India was 722 billions and China was almost 2 trillion. Now in 2014 you can see that it has almost grown 5 times. So its growth was much faster as compared to India's growth. Similarly, now it is almost 6x. But then again, the good news is that if the current projections they continue to hold, then we see that India and China, it will be 5x. That is, China is 5 times that of India. That is, India is now catching up, although very slowly, and it is much behind, but it is actually catching up. So from this data, it is clear that in 2014, we were the 10th largest economy in the world. Then in 2023, today we stand at the 5th number in this comparison, and 2027 we are going to become the 3rd largest economy. So on the basis of this is what the PM has actually said. So now let us see that whether this is actually going to happen. So basically, see, IMF has forecasted that if the current projections they continue to hold, we will become the 3rd largest economy in the year 2027. This is true, and we will be passing Germany and Japan to become the third largest economy. Our growth from 2014, see, in 2014 whatever we were, we have grown 83% more. Our GDP has grown 83% more of the number which it was at 2014. So our growth rate is actually handsome, and we have been expecting that we should grow at 8-9%, but then that is not been possible at this moment. But IMF says that even if we achieve a modest growth of 6 to 7%, even then in 2027 we will grow on to become the 3rd largest economy. Why? Because it says that from 2023 till 2027 we will grow 38% of the present number, we will improve. But Japan and Germany, they will only grow 15%. So that is why it will happen. Now let us have a look at the reasons why India is growing and why we will be becoming the 3rd largest economy. See, this is the table showing growth rate of major economies from 2014 to current, that is 2023. So you can see here that India, from its 2014 GDP, it has grown 83%. and China, it has grown 84%. So these are both comparable. They are both grown at the same numbers, absolute numbers. You can say that their growth is same. US has also grown 53%, so that is again a handsome number. But then you can see that the other economies have not grown that fast. UK only 3%, France only 2%, Russia only 1%. Italy has actually stagnated, it has not grown. And Brazil has actually contracted from the first number in 2014. So you can see here in this data also, they see Italy in 2014 it was 2163. And 2023 current it is hardly 2170. Therefore the numbers it has hardly grown. And Brazil you can see it is 2456 here in 2014. Now it is 2081. So you can see that it is actually contracted. So here it is visible that India's growth has been fast in these almost 9 years. And India, China and US. But then the other economies, they have grown very slow or they have not grown at all. So that is why we can say that India has been improving fast and it is growing faster than the other countries. And why? The experts say that this can be attributed to the global financial crisis of 2008. At that time, these economies like Italy and other economies, they were disproportionately more affected by this global financial crisis. India was also affected, but then it recovered, it grew, and it is also still growing. It did had some effect, but not that much, which was the effect which was pronounced on these countries. Now the question here is that since this data is from 2014 to 2023, does that mean that only the present government has contributed to this growth? So we will be analyzing that. See, if we look at the growth of 2004 to 2014, it was 183%. And today, that is 2014 to 2023, we have grown at 83%. So you can see that the growth is more in 2004 to 14 years. But then again, see, this was Manmohan Singh government. And here we see the Modi government. So here when Modi government is growing, we know that this is not just the Modi government policies which have led to this development. This is also the work done by the previous governments. So they might be having some shortcomings, but what their policies, they implemented the policies, and the growth which today we are achieving is because of that policies. Therefore, Modi government did actually benefited from the Manmohan Singh government policies. But then again, even the Manmohan Singh government, it benefit from the previous policies of the previous governments, just like P.V. Narasimha Rao government and then Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. So the policies which have been taken over the years, this is the policies which have led to the present growth, and that is why definitely there is a contribution of Modi government also. But then again, the policies which are being implemented today, they will show their effect in the long term. So in economy, we see the long term implications, not what will be happening in the first 5 years, and that is what the election years are. So basically your impact is not visible immediately. For example, if you are making highways or dedicated freight corridor or railways and whatever it is, the impact will be visible after, let's say, 10-15 years. So you can see that yes, Modi government is doing good, but then again it is also benefiting from the other policies which have been taken in the last let's say 20, 25 or 30 years. Similarly, the more important point here is that our comparison is not with the France, Germany or other countries like Italy. Our comparison is with China. So as I just showed you in this table, that initially we were hardly 3 times smaller, but then we went on to become 6 times smaller in today's world. But then again, now our growth rate is improving and we are trying to catch up with China, where we see that in 2027 we will be 5 times smaller. And when we continue growing at this pace, hopefully in 50, let's say by 2050, we can narrow our gap. And this is true that, see, the experts, they are predicting that yes, India will be crossing US at one point eventually. But then again, that is the thing which is not there in the foreseeable future. So that is not worth discussing as of now. Now here, see, we have discussed this question, but then again, there is another question, that is GDP the exact metric which we should be measuring? See, if we look at the per capita GDP, yes, GDP is growing. But if we talk about the per capita GDP, then we are not at the forefront in the world. For example, see, what is per capita GDP? For this, we divide the GDP by population. That is, per capita GDP means that an average person, not the topmost, the richest person, but the average person, what is his contribution to the economy. So India, you can see that the per capita GDP in dollars per annum, that is for 1 year, is $2,600. But UK, despite India passing it, UK is 47,000. So you can see that it is almost 20 or 18 times, whatever it is, 20 times higher than India. Then again, even Italy, it is 37,000, and despite Brazil contracting, it is still $10,000 per annum for one single person, that is per capita GDP. So you can see that the growth in GDP, it is good if it is translating to improvement in average person's income, then only it is good. GDP does not really show us the exact prosperity which is growing in the country. For example, see, GDP is just a number which is showing the growth. Even if one person is improving at an exponential pace, for example, let's say Reliance or Adani or Tatas or let's say Birlas, if they are growing at a very high pace, there, let's say the total market value was $1 billion at one point. Now in 10 years, it increases to $1 trillion. So now you can say that yes, they have grown, and with them, the country's GDP has also increased. But does that mean that this growth has actually translated to more employment, or it has translated to more empowerment for the backward communities? That is not true. GDP does not show us what is the development in the country. It only shows that what is the growth, which might not be the exact thing which we are looking for. And GDP, even if the inequality is increasing in the country, that is, rich are growing richer, poor are becoming poorer, then also it is a possibility that GDP might grow. It won't account for the inequality. Unemployment might increase and yet GDP can increase. The pollution, it might grow, environment might get more polluted and yet GDP will grow. Then again, see, black money, whatever black money is there in the economy, GDP will never account for that because it does not know what black money is prevailing. Women empowerment, are women getting empowered? GDP won't know that. Is crime in the community or the society increasing or decreasing? GDP cannot account for that. So therefore, despite the growth, that it is a good idea and it is actually something to be happy about that our GDP is growing. But then is it the sole metric which we want to track? That is a question which needs to be answered. So if you like this article, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.